We've reached the final in all three of our brackets. We're going to discuss the dispersal draft for the 2024 APFL season, and the NFL playoff challenge is upon us. All of this and more in 20 seconds. Hey, fellow fanatics, welcome to the Fanatically Real broadcast, sponsored by Nature Coast Tailgating and Apparel, the official apparel of the FSA. I got confused because this guy's head right here was bopping in my screen and got me all like hyped before I got ready to say that. So, hey guys, that really wasn't how I was going to bring you in, but this is how we're going to do it. Hey, we got some VIPs with us tonight. We got Sean with us from the Naughty Dogs. He is playing for our first, probably only Grey Cup that we've ever had in FSA existence. And then we got Eric with us as well. Eric is looking for a big payout this year as he is currently in the finals for the Fanatic Real redraft. And then you're also playing for third place in the APFL this weekend. So good payout for you. How are you two gentlemen doing right now?
Good.
Doing great.
All right, before we get into your guys' stuff, though, let's talk about how the conference finals in the APFL ended up. And I have to shrink us all here real quick so I can get my art to show up nice and pretty. So the AFC East foes faced off for the third time this year. That was the Miami Barracudas and the Buffalo Mafia. Unfortunately, that's Eric's team that's sitting out there in the back right now. With Miami winning, they finished the season 2-1 in head-to-head matchups. Final score there was 107-55. And on the NFC side, the Green Bay Cheeseheads continue their dominance from the number one seed as they knocked off the Washington Hogs 115-84. So the APFL final pairing is set. These two teams will face off against each other. It is the Miami Barracudas and the Green Bay Cheeseheads. These two actually faced off against each other last year in week 9. Miami was under different ownership back in 2022, but Miami did get that win last year, 103-83. And if the current lineups stand, Green Bay is currently favored 101-92. So in our third place game, which is going to have Eric in that, he will be facing off against the Washington Hogs. What's funny is these two actually played each other earlier this season in week 5, where the Mafia ended up beating the Hogs 86-60. I don't think I actually did a what does it look like for why aren't you guys showing up now all of a sudden? There you are. Let's see if we do this. I like this layout better. Actually, you know what? I like this layout even better. I like being in between the two of you. I don't actually think I did a what's your current lineups look like for you and Washington playing against each other, Eric, but how do you feel about this weekend's game?
That's all right. It's pretty ugly.
Is it?
Just because 4 of my 5 receivers are potentially not playing this weekend.
Oh.
And Hawkinson, tore his ACL and MCL. So, and I'm not sure I have a starting quarterback. Outside of that, things are looking great.
Wow.
But it's going to be okay.
That doesn't sound promising for the Mafia for third place.
It's been a nice run. We had a great season, and either way, it's going to be a good week.
Just got a little message off on the side that Tia says, "Look at my fella. She's must be over on Discord talking about you." Trevor, on with us. Trevor, how are you? Good evening to you too, sir. All right, so Sean and I were talking about this before we came on live. Let's get these banners up here. So now that the finals are set for both the AFC and the NFC side, we now know the draft order for both sides as well. So we were able to add on you onto the list at number 15 and then Miami at number 16 on the AFC side. And then on the, we'll scroll through one more time in case people didn't see it. Pause your screen if you're watching this later. And then on the NFC side, this is what it looks like. We're able to add Washington and Green Bay to it. So that will be the draft order for the first round. Take away all of the trades that have been done, because we know on the AFC side, I think out of those 16 picks, like probably 13 or 14 of them belong to Denver. So that's just the draft order that we have for right now. Randy on with us as well. Randy, how are you, brother? So that takes care of the APFL side. So let's talk about the redraft for a little bit. So in the semifinals there, Average Joes, which are you, defeated the Peach State Who Daddies. They were actually possibly still looking at a very good bid for Rookie of the Year this year. You ended up beating them 205-81. And then on the other side of the brackets, the Lunatics defeated the Panthers. Final score there was 175-149. So that means the finals are set. And it's going to be the Black Dragons region and the Banshees region facing off against each other. Eric, you came in as the number 5 seed, Lunatics the number 1 seed. And again, I did on this one. So the current lineups have the Lunatics favored over you 170-157. How do you feel about that one? How's your team looking for this one versus the APFL one?
So again, this whole year for the Average Joes has been quite the trip. I needed the last week just to get into the playoffs, as I was 5-5 and needed to squeak in there because I had all 3 of my quarterbacks I drafted all are in injured reserve. So I've rolled with a combination of Desmond Ridder, Nick Mullins, and Joe Flacco in the playoffs.
God.
But the rest of the team is really solid. If you can imagine, if I'm rolling with those quarterbacks, I actually feel, I looked at both teams. Our receivers we pretty much mirror each other, so it's going to be across the board what happens everywhere else. But have a puncher's chance in this one, so I'm excited.
So Trevor says, "Bring it home for the Banshees." That's the kind of energy I like, is knowing that we're trying to fight for these for our for redraft regions. I actually looked over your guys' team as one thing I did do. We talk about the way that we do these breakdown of the regions in FSA, and we always talk about how we don't have a whole lot of duplicates in the championship teams. And I think this is the most duplicates that we've ever had, because in other years, I think the very first year that we did something like this, the 2 teams that were facing off in the finals, each team had one of the players that was the same, but they didn't start them. And I think years later, we ended up having 2 teams that played against each other that did have one starter that was the same. We have a starting lineup of 15 this year, as we're doing IDPs and kickers in there as well. And I think between the 2 of you, at least as the lineup sit right now, you guys have 4 of the same players. I think you guys have a wide receiver, a couple defensive players that are the same. So it'll be a couple pushes here. So hopefully whatever you guys got different in the other 11 players, then will be what makes up for you. And hopefully your quarterback situation isn't so ugly. Well, it's awesome that you squeaked in and you were able to get in at 7-6. 2 guys that weren't able to squeak in would be me and the other guy that's sitting over on the other side. And we were playing for the Grey Cup until this guy ends up beating me, and now he is in the Grey Cup finals. So Naughty Dogs, you had an easy win over the Rum Runners. I looked at his starting lineup against you. I think he left like 5 or 6 holes or something like that. I don't even know if he realizes he was still playing for something. So your final score there was 185-86. So you beat him by 99 points. And then on the other side, the Bad Omens found their way into the finals after defeating the number 1 seeded, the Ohio River Monsters. Final score there was 183-149. So here are the Grey Cup finals. They are set. So we got the Gold Dragons against the Lynx. Current lineups right now, Sean, have you favored 173-148. I don't know that I looked over your guys' lineups that much to see if you guys have any of the same players or not. Did you get a chance to take a look?
I think we have like one or it's probably just one player. It's probably a defensive player, if I'm not mistaken. or same kicker even. But even last week we had the same player issue as my opponent, even though he'd keep up with his team. We had a same defensive player, and even a few years back when I was playing for third place, we had playing in the semifinal game, we had the same quarterback. We had Ben Roethlisberger that mirrored each other.
That's cool.
Or sometimes it can bite you, sometimes it can help you.
Yeah, I don't. I'm curious to see what it's going to look like this year because it's the most that we've ever had. And we are doing 15 players this year. And not to foreshadow too much, I had a conversation with the wife with some friends over Saturday before Christmas. They were asking a lot of questions about fantasy football, and we were kind of going down the rabbit hole of what does 2024 look like for the redraft, because we had talked about we're already shrinking the number of teams that are playing, so we're going down to 60, right? So I had kind of given a little bit of thought about reducing the starting lineup sizes as well, but keeping the roster sizes the same size that we got this year. But the more and more I thought about it, I was like, the position that I was thinking about taking away on the offensive side would have been one of the flexes. And the more and more I looked over it, I don't want to do that. And then when I looked over what we would do on the IDP side, I think we actually take away the flavor of what we were trying to do when we introduced IDP. And if we take away two of those positions, even if they turn into flex positions, I think that kind of takes away from it. So the more and more I thought about it, just to kind of give everybody a heads up that's coming back, of the 60 of you that are playing next year, I don't think we're going to change anything. I think if we change anything, we're going to probably increase the roster size by 2 instead. So I think it'll be 24 with 15 starters. So you have a little bit of play there to add some or keep some IDPs on your bench if you want to. But that's my thought right now. I'm going to try to get that thought figured out before we go into the fiscal year on 1 March. Everybody knows what we're playing with for 2024. I think you guys probably at least got enough information from Discord to have some knowledge about this next thing we're going to talk about. And since you both play in the APFL, Sean was on with us. Eric, were you on with us when we talked Dispersal Draft last week before we went live on the show?
I was not, no.
Okay, good. Well, I'm glad you're here, and Sean can speak the piece again. So that's the next topic I want to talk about is the APFL Dispersal Draft. So we had some question marks last week about what some of the returnees were going to look like. We still have 4 that are on the bubble of whether they're going to come back or not. One of them I got confirmation 100%. Indianapolis is not coming back on the AFC side. So Eric, this affects you and me more than it does anybody else. Well, you just missed all of the talk about the number 1 seeded Green Bay Cheeseheads going into the APFL finals. How are you, sir?
What's going on?
Hey, we're talking Dispersal Draft now, so would love to have your input because I know you didn't make it. What's that say? GM of the APFL. Oh, okay. I love it. Hey, the hair's growing back. The hair is growing back nice. So, yeah, that's man. That was awesome. That was pretty awesome of you. Dad of the year right there. So APFL Dispersal Draft. We know for sure Indianapolis is not coming back. That's 100% given now. Jacksonville already said their piece and said that if we are going to do a dispersal draft, they will throw their team in there. 2 teams that have still not come up on the net is Las Vegas and Washington, which I will reach out to them tomorrow directly. However, I've got contact. I don't know if I have phone numbers or if I have email addresses for them, but I'll reach out. If for some reason Vegas says that they're not coming back, now we have 3 teams in the AFC that are not coming back, or 2 that are not coming back, 1 that wants to throw their hat in for the dispersal draft. So the dispersal draft is going to happen because we have the way that I wrote the rules, and now that we're having more of a conversation about it tonight online, I will send it out to everybody in Discord tomorrow. The catalyst to say yay or nay of whether we're going to have a dispersal draft or not is if we have 1 team on either side that's not coming back. When we do that, then everybody makes it known between a certain dates that you guys will see in this of whether you're going to come back and or participate in the dispersal draft. So we know what that's going to look like. Those that are going to participate in the dispersal draft have to pay their money right away. We're going to get the draft order set for the dispersal draft. The draft will happen, and all of this will happen before we start normal league operations on the 1st of March. One of the things that I've had some conversations with other people, and this is mostly from the NFC general managers. So Damian and Sean, if you want to chime in on this, is I said I felt like even though it is two different pools of players, I don't know that if it's fair for the whole league if we're doing a dispersal on the AFC side, not to have a dispersal on the NFC side, or at least make it optional for the NFC side if they want to. Talking to 5 other general managers last week from the NFC side, all of them said that they would not be doing anything dispersal-wise on the NFC side. And I think based on what your team is doing right now, Damon, you probably wouldn't jump in on that either. So I think the NFC side is probably safe to not do it. But what I don't want to do is I don't want this is a whole league, even though it's 2 different drafted players. I want everybody to be able to do the same thing if we can. If for some reason, let's say in real world situation, Indianapolis was the only team that wasn't coming back. And let's say Jacksonville wasn't going to throw their hat in for the dispersal. And nobody else was going to participate in the dispersal. Then Indianapolis becomes an orphan team, and we will just have to find somebody that'd be willing to take that team over. So if nobody else wants to jump in and it's a single team, then we'll just count it as an orphan and we'll just roll with it that way. But as of right now, we know of at least 2 that are going to throw their hat in, and we don't know about Vegas. And I'm almost at the point where I'm thinking about doing it just because I've never done one before. And, you know, it's the APFL, it's ours. I'd like to just see what it's all about. The unfortunate part is if it just ends up being me, Indy, and Jacksonville, we all have the same problem. We all got crappy wide receivers. So all we're going to be doing is distroing everything else and still have crappy wide receivers. So we'll just have to wait and see what that looks like. But for everybody who's out watching this now or later, the dispersal draft will be happening on the AFC side. I just don't know how many teams are going to participate in that yet. So when we make the announcement, yes, it's happening. We'll get everybody to come up on the net. I think the date is now. We had said that we were originally going to say that everybody needed to know what their intentions for 2024 was by the 31st. I think the new calendar date pushes it until the middle of January, and then we will get everything done between the middle of January and the last day of February. So that gives us 6 weeks to get draft order done, draft taken care of, which shouldn't take very long if it's only 2 or 3 teams because, hell, all of us in this room, we did, 16 teams, and we did – what's on our rosters now, 20 or 18? And we did, I think the longest one took like 11 days. And now we're only talking maybe 2 or 3 teams. So it shouldn't take us very long. Anybody got any input? I talked for too long. Let me drink something. You guys say something.
So the draft picks would go into the dispersal too, right? The ones that they own?
Yes, draft picks will go in there as well. The one thing that won't get thrown in there will be their fab money. Fab money will stay with them. But the draft picks that they currently own will get thrown in there as well, and those could be drafted as well. Good point. Thank you for asking that. Yep, that will happen. So I don't know. That might affect more AFC people than I think it will.
Yeah, I mean, the draft picks are a mess in the AFC.
Yeah. What'd you say, Damien?
Do we know what picks they have as of right now?
We know the draft order right now. We will have to go back through and figure out which picks they actually have based on Denver owning like every freaking pick on the AFC side right now.
I don't know if they're going to have any picks depending on that.
I actually think Indianapolis has 2. I'm sorry, Jacksonville has 2, and I think Indianapolis has 3 right now. Neither one of them have a first-round pick, though, I don't think. I think Jacksonville is 2nd and 3rd. Wait, we only do the 3 rounds. I think it's just the 2nd and the 3rd, and I think it might actually be 2nd and 3rd for both teams. That'd be it. I don't think either one of them has a first round.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think both of them gave up their first-round picks. So
this guy owns the Jacksonville pick that's first.
Do you? Okay,
Yeah.
Well, we know he definitely does not have a first. That's what I thought, though, too. So, all right, NFL playoff challenge is about to start happening now that we're getting close to the end of the regular season for the NFL. Don't forget, if you want to participate in the NFL playoff challenge, you don't have to, but it is free to get in on. And what are you playing for? If you win that thing, you get to play in the redraft league next year for free. So we'll front the money for you for winning that, and you get to play for it for free. So this year, the Louisville Sluggers, he's he's in the Lynx region. Had a chance to take the whole thing this year. I think he ended up getting beat in the quarterfinals or whatever, but had he made it all the way, he'd have been playing for free to win that big purse. So it is definitely worth playing. It costs nothing. It's a lot of fun. So jump in there. And you don't have to be a member of the league. If you're thinking about just getting in and you want to see what this is all about and want to get in with a great group of people, throw your name in the hat to play, and then you could be playing with us for free next year. Let's see, Damon. I have not asked you this question yet. I didn't know if you came up on the net and said something to me and I missed it. I think both Eric and Sean have thrown their hats in. You aware what we're going to do with the regional manager thing for the redraft next year? Are you playing redraft next year? You are, aren't you? Mad Scientist is back. Okay. Are you going to throw your name in the hat in for being a regional manager?
No, I want people to fight over me.
I kind of figured that was how you were going to feel about that. Okay, cool. All right, I thought so. So just to give everybody an idea of what we're going to do, so we're going to kind of break away from the norm of what we've done with FSA since the first year that we built the regions and played inside of them, which I think was probably like 2014, 2015. And instead of having everybody local to their area, which is the regional map that we've built, we're actually going to interview and hire regional managers for a non-paid position. That's awesome. I can't believe you guys are still volunteer for that if it's non-paid. But for 5 regional managers, it'll be a regional manager for each one of the 5 regions that we're going to have this year. And they're going to draft their team out of the other 55 remaining players. And they will be playing inside whatever region they decide to designate themselves. And that interviewing process is going to start as soon as we get done with this season. I actually think I have a list of 11 right now that's got their names in the hat for it. So we'll start doing those interviews as soon as everybody's ready for it. But that's how we're going to play it this upcoming year. Still kind of regional play. You'll still play everybody inside your region once, and then we will do some kind of crazy playoff system like we always do, hoping that we can figure out how to play around the NFL buys and whatever they look like for next year. And hopefully they're not as asinine as they've been the last couple of years, and hopefully they can compact them all in from like week 5 to week 12, and we can be done with that stuff. How was everybody's Christmas?
It's great.
Yeah.
It was rainy.
Yeah.
Yeah. How is everybody recovering from the tornado in Clarksville?
Yeah, it's been a mess, but it's coming together. There was over 100 houses were completely destroyed here in the area.
Damn. When are the kids going back to school? You said it's still late, like mid-January?
Next, I think January 8th, actually, is the day they've been out for almost a whole month. They got out, I think, a week or 2 early because of the tornado, and then that led into, Christmas vacation.
Yeah. Awesome. Anybody get any good gifts that they want to talk about? Any good gifts? No? Sean's smiling for some reason. Sean, what did you get?
Got a nice and desperately needed rain jacket.
Nice.
Got a sweet Bill's lunch pail to take to work every day.
Nice. Damien, did you get anything cool?
No, not really.
No cool Green Bay stuff this year? You got the shoes last year, right?
I did get the shoes last year. I got a new pair of shoes in the summertime this year for my birthday, so
yeah,
I held off. Yeah.
That's all right. The kids made out though, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
What about you? Anything good?
So the wife got me a little miniature Jets salute to service helmet. So it's one of the tan ones that's got the Jets on it. And then she got me a Michigan football that's got the big house printed on it. And then it came a day or 2 after Christmas. And we'll see if I can get this thing turned around so you all can see this thing. We haven't put it together yet. So, I already have this thing over here in the corner, right?
Yeah.
So now I've got this one over here. It's another one of the arcade games. This one has 14 different games on it. We happened to pass it in a store one day, and it was powered up. And I said, "Oh, look, Dig Dug." And she had no idea what I was talking about. And all of a sudden it shows up on the door. Yeah, it shows up on the door. And she was like, "Tell me about this Dig Dug." I said, "I've probably spent a couple $100 in quarters on that thing growing up as a kid, playing in the arcade at the skating rink. So I can't wait to put it together so I can play some Dig Dug." But I'm running out of room in the man cave. There's only like one spot left in here to put it. So, and then I'm completely out of space except for starting to put things on the ceiling now. So I think that's what that's about to come to. All right, so let's talk about week 17 in the NFL, since all three of you that are in the room right now are playing for something. No Monday Night Football.
Nope.
So I didn't know if you guys knew that. No Monday Night Football. So tomorrow night we got the Jets at Cleveland.
Yeah.
As of noon today, Cleveland was favored by 7.5. And since I don't play the spread, I just play straight up. And the Jets suck. And they can't seem to get their head out of their asses. I'm going to pick Cleveland for the game for tomorrow night. Plus, I just wanted to wear the Brownie hat. I don't think I get to wear it very much, so I like this hat.
Amari Cooper put up another 50 points.
Yeah, 51.5 points according to Kevin's scoring system or whatever league that he plays in. That's insane. So he ended up setting was it you that told us it was the first time Cleveland Brown had back-to-back 1,000-yard receiving seasons? Somebody told us that. Yeah, that's insane. Like if all of the history of the Browns, that's insane to me. And then he also set the record for the most yards in a game, passing up Josh Gordon by a couple. That was pretty awesome.
I think it was like by 2 yards or something.
Yeah, it was like I think Gordon was like 271 and he was 275 or something like that. So it was really damn close. So Saturday we got Detroit at Dallas. And then since we have all of the rest of the games on Sunday, no games on Monday, we finish up the week with Sunday Night Football, Green Bay at Minnesota. That should be a good game. I think that should be a good game. It's not like we're talking like Atlanta's playing anybody, or I don't even know who Buffalo plays this week, but Green Bay and Minnesota is a pretty good game. So
wild card implications that game too.
Say again.
Yeah, they're playing for a wild card stakes.
Since Detroit won their first division title since I started this league 30 years ago, yeah, that's pretty crazy. Good for them. Yeah, there was a couple videos that came out of a one guy that was super excited, and his kid was taking the video, and the kid was trying to figure out why dad was so excited, and dad's 35 years old. So this is the first time he's seen them win a division since he was his kid's age. So that's pretty awesome. I have to give one more shout out before we do our closing for the night. Toby, I don't know if you're out there watching this right now or later, or if you ever watch these things later. This is the one you want to watch because I'm about to give you a shout out. So Toby Keller, who is the general manager of the Detroit Pride, runs a league on Yahoo called Our Bosses Think We Are Working, I think is the name of the league. And I've played with him the last 2 years in that league. And I am actually going against him in the finals in his league. So I just wanted to say publicly on camera, good luck to you. I hope you lose. I still love you dearly, but I really want this win bad. It would be – I'm totally jinxing it now. I said this earlier too. I'm totally jinxing it by hyping it up so much. If I win this, it will be my first fantasy football win ever in the 30 years that I play in, whether it's in my league or somebody else's league. It would be my first one ever. So my wife says to me tonight at dinner, she goes, just be happy you're in the money right now. I want the whole damn thing. Yeah, it's not good enough. I want the whole damn thing. So Toby, good luck. I hope you lose. So that's it. We will be back on the 3rd of January after the new year. Happy New Year to all of you. I'm sure we'll say hey to each other on Discord, but Happy New Year to each of you guys. Thank you for showing up tonight. I appreciate it. Good luck to all three of you this weekend. Eric, we're getting ready for a big payout, depending on how his weekend turns out, but still, even if you took a fourth and a second, still a pretty decent payout this weekend. And then Damian paying – what are we paying out for the redraft? Is it a K?
I think it's 800, 600, but then there's the cornhole too.
Oh yeah, it's for the redraft. What are we paying for APFL?
I think it's 1,000.
Is it 1,000? Okay.
I don't know. I've got a better deal than all of y'all. I'm playing for a T-shirt.
Sean's getting a T-shirt out of this if he wins it this
Awesome.
weekend, which I have to still design. Thanks. Yeah, Eric, if you do end up getting the cornhole boards, get with me immediately. We'll start designing it. That way we can get Brandon to start pumping those out for you. This will be the last year for the cornhole boards too. Brandon's already let me know. We're going to switch over and do apparel all of next year. So the Nature Coast tailgating apparel will be just Nature Coast apparel next year. There will be no tailgating portion of it. So you will get the last set of cornhole boards out of him. So we'll start designing this immediately. So let me know.
All right, do the best.
Yep. And that's it. Well, I got to thank everybody. So we just kind of thanked Brandon a little bit. So thank you to Brandon Valencia, the owner of Nature Coast Tailgating Apparel. And then thank you to Mondo and the boys of the Recast, who are the official music of FSA. I think they have a new release coming out. I think it's tomorrow. I'll let you all know. I just came across it on Instagram. I will find out when the new release is out, and I'll shoot it over on Discord for everybody to go and take listen to it. It's really good. It's they get some really good. They get some new band members. They under a little bit new management, and it's going to be really, really good. It's going to be awesome what they're getting ready to put out. So, thank you again to everybody for watching the Fanatically Real broadcast. We'll be back next week, and yeah, I think that's it. I'll catch you guys on Discord here in a few.
All right. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Thank you guys. Good luck this week.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Later.